Hey, Jules Blessed Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. So right now I'm doing a challenge on just thankfulness. It's 30 days of thankfulness as we are in the month of Thanksgiving, right? It's just always appropriate. Today is day 3. Usually when I do these, I go ahead a day so people can think about it. But I just kind of got on board and I did a 2 for yesterday. Let's go back. So yesterday, when I just even introduced the idea, number 1 was what was an unexpected blessing that you were thankful for, and number 2 was what friends are you grateful for. And wherever you are, whatever time this is, November, not November, whenever you're catching this video, just stay with the theme and don't be concerned about what day it is, right? But I do want to catch people up. So I am going to talk about day 3 today, but I'm going to tell you what tomorrow's is so that you can think about it before you share. Or some people just want to live the day and then share. So day 3, which is today, the 3rd, it's what childhood lesson are you thankful for? What childhood lesson are you thankful for? That was a really big one. My first thought was the golden rule. But that wasn't a lesson that I learned in my childhood. I mean, yeah, I was aware of it, but it's not like one of my family specific things. And what I was thinking, because I really took a moment to reflect on this, I thought probably one of the greatest childhood lessons that my parents taught me was that there's always enough for everyone. Now, I know that kind of sounds funny because you're like, Jules, don't you come from like compulsive overeating and a sense of scarcity, which is why you're like anesthetizing yourself with food? No, no, no. My family was never needing, at least my parents never revealed that to us. Even though there were 13 people in the house and we often had 3 other table settings in case anyone showed up. I never had a sense that there wasn't enough. Ever. I guess those were quiet conversations they had upstairs, and I never had a sense of, oh my gosh, I won't get whatever. So I think my greatest lesson was that my parents taught me that there's always enough. And what it was is they knew that if there were 2 plates, you could easily take some from your plate onto a 3rd plate, and then there'd be enough for a 3rd person. In our situation, if there were 13, and everybody gave a little for 3 more, we could always have 16. And my father had made this gigantic table. I'm not sure what it was made out of because I was just a little girl. But it was like a 15-foot table. And he had put a world map in it and, shellacked the whole thing. And we had amazing conversations around that table. We were challenged academically around that table. We would have a study hall, if you will, because you can imagine. I mean, we literally had 11 children in 10 years in my belly button family. Forgive me, in 11 years and 10 months. And so a lot of us, certainly me, the children had to have the same teachers so they could give hot tips. They were a grade level ahead so they could help the kid below. There was all that kind of thing. And it was just kind of going on all the time. But my parents just always suggested that there was a solution and that if people were willing to just give a little more, there'd be enough. And I just thought that was a brilliant lesson to learn. And I have certainly carried it throughout my life. And I just feel like it's exactly appropriate for where we are in the world right now, because it's not that the world is overpopulated. I know a lot of people are saying that. Oh my gosh, there's 6 billion, and I think it's less. I honestly think it's less. And it's always interesting. Did someone really do a consensus of the entire world and add it up? I don't think so. But we have kind of a general sense, right? So you take a country like India, and just a second, I'm going to check 1 sec. Okay, yeah, so I wanted to look it up. So India, right, which is like down in the tip of what's referred to as Eurasia. So it's China and then Europe to the left. But India is literally 1/3 the size of the United States. So India, I'm just going to round it, but let's just say it's 3,200 3.2 2 million square kilometers. The United States is 9.8 million square kilometers. Okay, so it's 1/3 the size. And in that 1/3 the size, they have 1.2 billion, okay? 1.2 billion people living there. So that means the United States has 995 million, approximately 995 million fewer people in a space that's twice the size. Okay, so now India can validly say, wow, our population is really too big for this area, and they are seriously overpopulated for that. But the United States, if you've ever driven across the United States, even in the state of California, which we have by far the largest population, right? About 40 million people in the state of California. It's equal to the populace of about 11 states combined. But it's 1,600 miles long and about 250 miles across. And even in that population, it's not that we're overpopulated. We're just overpopulated in the places people want to live. Come up to the high desert. There's plenty of room. Go across Central, and other than all the farmland, which is beautiful anyway, there's plenty of room. But people who want to live along the coastline, yeah, it's highly populated and very condensed. So anyway, it's kind of like that. It's a lesson we need right now. You know, it's not that there isn't enough for everybody. It's that people aren't willing to share. My parents made us share all the time. And it was funny, and I've shared this story before, where my mother would literally pull over to the side of the road with 6, 7, 8 of us in the car. And she'd pull over and say, you guys, get out and clean that area. Clean up that mess. And we're like, Mom, I mean, it was bad enough at home having to clean up our mess all the time. We're like, Mom, that we didn't even make. Get out there and clean up that mess. She had a really good teacher. Every teacher has the look. My mother had the look. So we'd have to get out of the car and clean up somebody else's trash. Well, it's super funny. People notice it all the time. When I'm walking around campus, they'll see me just reach down and pick something up. When I'm in a store, they'll see me pick up items people dropped. And they're like, what are you doing? I mean, my mother so instilled that in us. Super funny. But yeah, I was just kind of thinking that I like that lesson the most, because truly, how many of us have a spare bedroom? We'd never think to let someone stay in there, but it's just sitting. How many of us have drawers of clothes that we haven't worn forever? How many of us have trinkets on shelves in our home that we barely even notice? It's just there all the time. Like, there's so much stuff. How many of us have food in our cupboards that we're just not going to eat because we don't really like that anymore? I'm super good at giving it away. I'm super good at giving the food away. My husband gets bored every 5 seconds with what he had to have, and so I secretly give it away. I'm at the church food bank a lot, giving away his nonsense, which I'm happy to do. But yeah, when I think about the cruelty that we have going on with animals and the insane amount that are being slaughtered every single day, with the understanding that if we dare to give, first of all, create less fake animals, right? Because we're generating them in test tubes and impregnating them against their will. And then, of course, we're feeding them the corn and the soy and all those things. So the majority of food is for our consumption. These animals are for our consumption. When in fact, if we just gave them the plant-based grains and corn to the people, we would literally have no famine. No one would be starving on our planet. But that's not a solution for so many reasons, political mostly. And also people just being selfish, you know? I was watching a video of a social media person for health, and this guy was assessing her and just fully just raking her across the coals And she kept going, okay, why? Because everything I'm saying is true? Like, I have evidence of what I'm saying, whereas you're just bashing me to bash me, you know? And I thought that's so true. I'm sorry if the idea of telling you that eating animals is no longer your right offends you. It doesn't make it less true. We're in a really weird time right now where people are recreating what are foundational truths, right? They're changing what innately humans know, like that warning in your stomach that says something's not right here, you know? They're teaching us to ignore that warning. It's a really creepy time. But who can believe all that goes back to a very simple challenge, which just simply said, what was one good thing? One childhood lesson you're thankful for. Again, on a very simple note, mine is the understanding that there is enough as long as we share. That's the greatest lesson for me. Okay, but that said, I am going to go on to day 2. You're welcome to share on either of these or both. I'd love to know. I'm going to go on to day 2, meaning, forgive me, number 4, which is for tomorrow. I'm just going to mention it today. We'll share tomorrow. But I'm just going to mention it for day 4, November 4th. Day 4 is what Christ-like attribute are you grateful for? Ooh, so interesting. So yeah, that's within yourself. What Christ-like attribute do you possess? Is it kindness, grace, mercy, straightforwardness? Let's be fair. Christ toppled a few temples, right? My gosh, his inner strength, his steadfast commitment to his truth. I mean, my gosh, there's so many things. So let's think about that. What Christ-like attribute are you grateful for? We'll talk about that tomorrow. I am cleaning my food for those who are asking. To my little sister out there, I am on it, girl. Thank you for your support. And thank all of you guys for your support. My JBV community, you mean everything. Like if you like, join us if you haven't. Subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. And until we talk again, best of all, know that you're blessed.